Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Shanley. I'm a third-year general surgery resident at Virginia Mason in Seattle. This presentation will review an evaluation of crowd worker and faculty expert ratings of laparoscopic cholecystectomy. I have nothing to disclose. Crowdsourcing is an increasingly popular assessment tool that's been used over the last few years in increasing rates, and it utilizes online, readily available workers to perform tasks. They're typically recruited from sites like Amazon Mechanical Turk. Research has shown a strong correlation between crowd worker ratings and faculty expert ratings when it comes to operative technical skill. We sought to take this one step further and see if there's a relationship between technical performance and whether this would translate to operative quality and safety. Global Objective Assessment of Laparoscopic Skills, or GOLS, is a very commonly used tool to assess technical performance. Our primary aim of the study was to evaluate the relationship between technical performance and completion of the critical view of safety in laparoscopic cholecystectomy. To do this, we collected 160 videos from public domain websites like YouTube, Vimeo, and a few from the SAGE's video library. Videos were watched in their entirety and then edited to 60 seconds or less, and were edited to include all portions of the critical view of safety dissection and views of anterior or posterior views if they were included. And videos ended when any structure was cut or clipped. We then prepared these videos and used crowdsourced assessment of technical skill for our crowd analysis. They're a company based in Seattle, and our inclusion criteria for crowd workers were that they had to be 18 years or older and pass a screening and attention test. And then they had to watch an educational tutorial that we developed that reviewed background gallbladder anatomy and the procedure to provide them some context. And then we taught them how to rate videos using the critical view of safety criteria that was previously laid out. They then went on to rate videos using GOLS as well as CVS criteria. All 160 videos were then stratified by GOLS performance, and 10 videos were randomly selected from each quartile for review by our faculty experts. This created a convenient sample of 40 videos. We then recruited 5 SAGE's Safe Cholecystectomy Task Force members to also watch our educational tutorial and then rate the 40 videos using GOLS and CVS criteria assessments. A few definitions were required. The satisfactory completion of a critical view of safety was defined as an average CVS score of 5 or greater, and then videos were also considered top technical performers if they achieved an average GOLS rating of 15 out of 20 or greater. Just to review, the critical view of safety criteria is summarized in this table and is from Sanford and Strasberg's publication. This slide, as well as the educational tutorial, were available to both crowd workers and faculty experts throughout their video assessments as a reference tool. For our statistical analysis, we used linear mixed effects models to derive an average crowd worker and faculty expert rating for GOLS and the critical view of safety criteria for each video. And then the degree of correlation between performance measures was assessed with Spearman correlation coefficients. For our results, we had 617 crowd workers complete 8,463 ratings across 160 videos in just 24 hours, incredibly fast. Our faculty experts did also very well. They generated 200 ratings across 40 videos in just 5 days and 6 hours, and these are very busy faculty members. Our faculty experts had very good inter-rater reliability as assessed by an intra-class correlation coefficient of 0.72 and a Krippendorf's alpha of 0.72. In order to gain a general understanding of our results, we first looked at GOLS scores among the 40 videos. The dark red line shows the line of best fit and had a Spearman correlation of 0.82 for crowd worker GOLS scores compared to faculty expert GOLS scores. We then sought to assess if this would hold true for the critical view of safety. This graph demonstrates that the red line for best fit shows a Spearman correlation of 0.89. Typically, high stakes testing approaches 0.9 or greater. So whether we were looking at technical performance or completion of the critical view of safety, there was a strong correlation between faculty experts and crowd workers' scores. We then sought to evaluate our primary aim. We chose to do this by looking at the faculty experts' evaluations first. So for the 40 videos, there was a strong correlation of 0.71 between GOLS scores and CVS scores. However, when we looked at this further, if you look close to the 15 to 20 range, there's still a pretty wide spread of critical view of safety scores, and some of those are well below acceptable levels of 5 or greater. So we sought to look at these groups of technical performers who scored high in more detail. So this graph shows the 16 videos that achieved top technical performer ratings of 15 or greater. The dark line is the faculty experts, and the dotted red line is the crowd workers. You can see that the degree of correlation in this subset really drops off significantly to 0.48 and 0.64. And the spread around this degree of fit is quite wide. So we sought to look at this in more detail and found that when evaluated by experts, top technical performers, almost 40% of them scored less than 3 out of 6 on the critical view of safety criteria. And crowd workers also scored very few above 3. Then when looking at completion of a satisfactory critical view of safety, the faculty experts only assign this rating to about 30% of the videos. This means that 70% of top technical performers did not complete a critical view of safety. And crowd workers actually assigned a satisfactory completion of the critical view of safety to none of the performers. This demonstrates that we do have some limitations in our study, and that the frequency of complete critical view of safety was very low in this group of 40 videos. So crowd workers may have been unfamiliar with seeing a satisfactory completion of the critical view of safety, and this may have skewed their ratings to lower ratings. In addition, this public video set may not represent reality, and there could have been a selection bias because we didn't choose videos that showed the critical view of safety being complete. In addition, we know that there are other safety methods employed by surgeons other than the critical view of safety approach, and these may have been represented in our video set, and we are assessing for the wrong thing. However, in conclusion, trained crowd workers do provide fast, reliable, and formative feedback, and they are non-inferior to faculty experts in assessment of unsatisfactory completion of the critical view of safety. So they're fairly reliable for lower performing videos. And whether evaluated by crowd workers or faculty experts, there is indeed a positive correlation between goals technical performance and completing more components of the critical view of safety. But high technical performers, almost 70%, still did not achieve a satisfactory critical view of safety. And this may represent a public safety concern as well as educational concern in terms of what's available on the internet for use. Thank you for your attention, and I'd like to entertain any questions.
Any question from the floor?
Hello, I'm Anand Malpani from Johns Hopkins. From a sustainability point of view, can you tell me 2 things? 1, how much did this cost? And 2, how much time was put in to get the right set of clips?
Absolutely. Thanks for the question. So we used crowdsourced assessment of technical skill, which is called CSATs. It's a Seattle-based company. They charge a fee for research-based projects, and it's $100 per video. So that's significantly a financial limitation of doing this type of assessment. It's an assessment model that hasn't been adopted widely, and so it's still quite expensive to use that. If you were to do this independently, it would be significantly cheaper, but it would require a lot more manpower to utilize the Amazon Mechanical Turk marketplace to do so, because it actually is quite cheap to pay the crowd worker. It's only about 5 cents to 10 cents per video. In terms of the amount of time that it takes to prepare these clips, I personally prepared all 160, and it took me about 80 hours of work to do that. So it is very time intensive.
Dr. Brandt?
I don't have a question, but I'd just like to compliment Dr. Deal on a beautiful presentation and provide a clarification. This work was really done at Virginia Mason in Seattle, and it was really under the direction of Dr. Al Sadie, who's was designed and developed this project. So I just want to give them full credit for that.
I have a quick question. It's obvious from 2 presentations back to back that the critical view is not one of the strengths in at least the gallbladders that were presented here. Do you feel that the new technology, for example, ICG, may help in developing a new critical view so people don't dissect as much, but now they can see the cystic duct through the tissue, and maybe that can improve? I mean, clearly in 17 years we have been unable to convince people to show the critical view, so we have failed, and we need to find other sources. You think that ICG may change the game a little bit in terms of safety?
I think that's definitely a possibility. I mean, the critical view of safety is only one method, and obviously it still hasn't panned out in terms of being widely accepted. And if we were able to see the structures more clearly with new technology, that may be an alternative.
Shanley, that was a great presentation, great study, thank you. Do you think, well, the laparoscopic cholecystectomy is a very standardized procedure. Do you think this could be extrapolated to gastrectomy, colectomy, Nissen, anything else? Do you think that'd be possible?
I do think so. I mean, I think our results show some mixed results in terms of how to educate crowd workers to utilize them for assessment, because they did show some deficits. They weren't able to fully evaluate a satisfactory critical view of safety. So I think further validation in that context of educating crowd workers, if we were to utilize this for assessment, is absolutely needed. But I think you could generalize it to other procedures if you taught them well. Alternatively, the crowd can be anyone you want, so you can always use faculty experts or healthcare workers as your crowd workers.
Thank you.
Thank you.